Brian's health history was kind of unusual. He was 61, and he had never been diagnosed with any illnesses or hospitalizations any time prior in his life. He actually thought he had a muscle spasm that just wouldn't loosen up. And he was unexpectedly diagnosed with soft tissue sarcoma, a particularly rare type. It's called a UPS sarcoma. They did some staging and determined that it was pretty advanced. It was very aggressive. He didn't want to spend time in the hospital with long recoveries and wound infections. He just decided very bravely that it was better to amputate his leg. And that began our journey. From there, he went through several months of chemotherapy. And after his surgery, they determined that the cancer had progressed and had metastasized to his lungs. So at that point, things changed dramatically. His conditions were managed beautifully by his team at the Parkview Cancer Institute. The point at which we decided to have hospice take care of Brian was basically that there were no other alternatives for additional chemotherapy. He had run the course with all 3 different types of treatment. He said, that's fine. I'm tired, I'm ready. I want to be at home, and I want to spend every minute that I can with my family and my friends. I'm at peace with knowing that there's nothing more that my care team at the Cancer Institute can do.
Brian was our hospice patient and had an opportunity to talk with both Brian and Deborah in their home. They had a very close relationship. I kind of describe them as soulmates. It's important to have peace of mind, peace in our spirit, and that's the part I pay attention to. When hospice comes in, we acknowledge that this is the end of life, and so we talk openly about that to guide them and to journey with them so that they are not alone in that process and in that journey. Hospice is definitely an interdisciplinary approach and a holistic approach. We bring in whatever they need wherever they are.
I came home one day from work, and his nurse, Amy, was here, and they were just talking about the usual things, books and music and playing cards. She didn't have to act in the role as a nurse, and he didn't have to be the patient. It was just like 2 good friends. Our social worker, when she came, she always brought treats for our dog, and that meant a lot to Brian. And then Karen, our chaplain, she would just have talks with him about whatever he wanted to talk about and sit with us on the porch. They would have philosophical talks sometimes, and then other times it was just about, what are your dreams? What are your hopes? So it was more special moments of just meaningful conversations, not just a caregiver and a patient.
I think the reward for us is that we truly believe that we enhance and walk with people. With Brian, with Deborah, with hospice patients and their families and loved ones, our goal is to help them live as fully, as comfortably as they can until their last breath.
Hospice helped him stay active. They honored his request to do that. He loved a bicycle. We had a special adaptive bike. We had a couple of vacations planned. We went to Alaska. We went to Branson, Missouri. We took a 6-week trip out west with our son, who had not lived at home with his parents for quite some time. We had the bucket list, and the last trip that we did was to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they had the Beatles exhibit, and he was determined he was going to see the Beatles exhibit. They could tell us nothing is beyond the limits. They did everything they could to manage the ins and outs of what does quality of life look like for you? How can we make it your vision of care and not our standard of care? It's been a year and a half, and they check in on us. What would I say to others who are considering hospice services? I would say, don't hesitate. Run, don't walk. It was the lifeline for us to so many blessings. The care that lifted his spirits. The respite and care that they gave myself and our family was wonderful. If we had not had us carrying a team as part of his care, we would not have been able to enjoy the special days that he had left.